that says, I know what I should do, but I do just the opposite. Paul dealt with this. You and I deal with this. And the struggles that Paul would deal with were things that he dealt with before his conversion and still wrestles with after. So let's talk about that. Why do we do this? Why do we have this gravitational pull to our own life? For those of you that consider yourselves followers of Jesus, you prayed a prayer, you got baptized, and you've started coming to church, and you wonder, why am I still prone to crave those things? Why do I still struggle with lust? Why do I still wrestle with greed? Why am I still so short-tempered and have anger issues? Why am I like the Israelites who have been rescued from my past but still want to go back to it? Why do I dream about the future but I just keep staring out the back window? Well, it has a lot to do with the difference between two big, what we like to call stained glass words around here. And it's the words justification and sanctification. Let me just show you the difference between these two words, and I'll explain why it matters to you. Justification says not guilty. Sanctification is rehabilitation. Justification is one time. Sanctification is an ongoing process. Justification is forgiven. Sanctification is changed. Here's why I say this. Because for many of us, we have been justified by being baptized into Jesus, but we just stopped right there. Justification is just as if I never sinned. But then we wonder, why do we still struggle with these same addictions and the same old hurts and the same old habits? Because we didn't yield ourselves to sanctification, which is God basically making us in the image of his Son. You know what it's like? It's like, do you remember the Polaroid cameras? I mean, I know they were a big deal when a lot of us were younger, and then they kind of made a comeback, and a lot of our kids were using them. And basically, the Polaroid was you'd take the picture, and then after it printed out, it was amazing because you got a picture right there. You didn't have to take it down and wait like 6 days for them to bring it back to you, and they print it out there for everybody to walk by and see. But you got to actually get the photo right then. But was the photo good as soon as you got it? No. What'd you have to do? You had to shake it. You had to shake it like a Polaroid. That's what you had to do, all right? And so you would shake that thing around, and you would wait, and nobody got the Polaroid out and looked at it and said, oh, that's terrible, and threw it away. Let's take it again. Because you knew that there was work to be done. You had to shake that thing, and you had to wait on that thing. That's sanctification. And most of us have given up or thought God can't help us when the moment we walk out of the baptistry, all of our old life doesn't go away. And Paul says, I wrestle with that too. In fact, for many of us, we kind of look at the whole thing of following Jesus like this picture here of this fine stick figure. And that is, we look at life like you're either in the Christian box or you're out of it. And a lot of us tend to think, I prayed a prayer, I got baptized, that's it, I'm in the box, now I'm going to heaven. But friends, all you did was get the justification part. God has forgiven you of your sin. But there is more to do. In fact, this is probably more of an accurate picture of what it means to follow Jesus. And that is, every day we keep moving towards the cross. Justification is the fact that God has declared you not guilty. Sanctification is, I want to make you look like Jesus. And for many of us, we've been throwing the Polaroid away before the shaking and the waiting. For all of us who wrestle with drifting back to the familiar instead of forward where we want to go, Paul is saying, I get it. I've lived it. I face this. I still struggle with my issues. In fact, Paul will tell us that he struggled with things like depression and anxiety. He struggled with all of the guilt and the shame from his past, from torturing and imprisoning and killing Christians. And he says, I wrestle with those things too. Now let me ask you about this. What is it that keeps you up at night? What is it that keeps you from going forward? Is it you're still struggling with your addiction to pornography, your addiction to drugs, your tendency to go back to an affair? You can do what a lot of us do and say, that's just who I am. But the reality is, now you're a child of God. You get to have better than that. Paul is telling us, I get it. I'm right there with you, but there is a way to move forward. You don't have to always retreat to the familiar.